The what now?
They said when I first started, they said talked about fifth grade.
How's your accuracy rate? Yeah. Yeah. How about yours, Dana? Your accuracy rate on the writing? Did oftentimes it prove itself to be true? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, I really meant now. I mean, how's your accuracy rate? Yeah. Good. Yeah. Yeah, I would expect it would be. Have you done it? Oh, well, you say, yeah, you had the writing downhill. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mine is so.
And just, oh boy, you do write fast. Mm-hmm. Well, I think we're going to go to automatic writing next. Automatic writing sounds like a lot more fun here today, but first we have to finish this up. And what did you get? What were you doing to other people? Yeah.
I was ordering the death of a lot of people on the ship or
Yeah. Oh, the whole group. Oh. She's got karma now. She's not going. Yeah. No, you don't get the gold. You've been bad, bad, bad. So. But you. Yeah. Yeah. Draw her a map. But you were a male in that life. Yeah. Right? What'd you get? Cindy, yeah.
I was a nun. Not even Catholic. I was a nun.
And why were you evil? What was the nun doing evil?
I saw a chalkboard, and there was kids, and the ruler.
Yeah.
Thinking, and I saw myself later at the altar in the church, the cross, very big cross, and just praying, for forgiveness.
Oh, for forgiveness for what you had done as a nun.
I was a teacher. I was very mean to the children. Ask for forgiveness and then go back to the No. Well, I think at the end of the visualization, no. I don't think it was going back. It was like just going there at the end.
Dina, what would you do? What did you do bad?
Well, after that, I don't know if I want to say. I was mad. I was like, I was afraid to even look at myself because I was a native dog. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it was almost like I was looking at the fire that I was with. I think I was. I hurt people because that was my job. And then at the end, I was like,
And you enjoyed your job, I take it.
No, it made me go mad.
Mm.
And I had no consideration for human life at all. No,
Wow.
just angry. I totally saw the things I was planning with plotting. Plans, plotting, anger, management, everything, paranoia, no compassion, building up imagination.
Wow. Oh, you're a basic bad guy.
How was it your job? You had orders?
I had orders to
So it wasn't really your fault.
Yeah. It made you go mad. Wow. What did you find, Isabel? What were you? You already knew about the lifetime? Yeah.
Not sure if it was in Venice or in Rome, because last time I saw it was in Rome, but this time it looked like Venice.
Yeah.
Anyway. Well, I was this Sutphen child, was down to the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Beautiful woman, a rich woman who treats men like dirt.
Deadly.
A what?
Deadly, you know.
Deadly. Well, anyway, so Theo was one of the men that I jumped because I felt he was rich. He wasn't rich enough. So he was both rich and rich.
Yeah.
And she begged me afterwards, and I sort of felt sorry for him, but I didn't look back. And then I found another man who was richer, and I got married to him, and Theo committed suicide. And I saw him when they brought him out of the sea, and I got depressed, and I left my new husband because I was depressed. And after that, his brother, who was his faithful again, went after me. And I thought, okay, since Theo, I really loved Theo, he was a nice guy, so I'm going to get hooked up with his brother. He's the next best thing.
So you left your maid,
My new husband.
your new husband, you left him.
Yeah, Theo's brother. Yes, but I did make a point of showing him that Theo's the one that I love, that Theo's better than you in a way. So he felt jealous. He was already jealous, so I made it worse.
Yes.
So it was really, really bad for him. And at the end, I couldn't express it anymore. So at some point, I shouted at him, Theo is the one that I love, not you. It's Theo, not you. And that's when he stabbed me to death. Theo's brother? Yes. So you were
Ouch.
sort of victim in that. Well, perpetrator, like, whoa.
Yeah, she got yours at the end. So. Wow.
Well, at least I was on class.
What'd you have? man?
What,
Yeah.
the one, is that all creation, or is that one percent? Is that all creation? The one, rock, land, tree.
Well,
That's creation.
yeah. It's just energy. We're all energy. Yeah, sure. Sure. Sure.
Well, that's my thought all along. but
Yeah. Yeah. The way I perceive it, it's
That's what I perceive in
yeah.
the two, the one that comes.
Right. 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 Right.
But we are the one,
Right.
I understand.
So what did you do bad?
Well, I couldn't get anything up, so I tried to make something.
Yeah.
I put myself on a slave ship.
Mm-hmm.
That was a mistake that I went to assault, some kind of a mine.
Yeah.
That I'm mining, I don't want to mine.
Yeah.
I want me on the SOB running the mine.
Oh.
Okay.
So you probably slipped into the real memory at that point.
Well, I couldn't get anything up, so I thought, well, I'll try to.
But then you jumped over to another situation. That's a real sign that you've let the real memory come out. Yeah.
Okay, because I couldn't get anything up. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
put myself on sleep mentally.
Yeah.
And
All of a sudden you were in a mine.
some kind of a mine, and pretty deep. In there. And of course, they started with that, just goes to work.
Yeah. 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 Wow. Wow.
Yeah, ahead of that line, and like her, I had people over me telling me what to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, the other.
Yeah, it was you, Isabel. I want you to take responsibility for that now.
Right, it's your fault. The old queen came.
Okay.
The interesting part about mine was back then, I thought the others were beneath me because they weren't rich enough. Now, it's because they're not the way I want them to look. So they're still...
I don't understand that. You're not the way you want them to look. You
Well,
want...
they have to be blonde, have a lot of hair here, but the short hair. They have to be skinny, non-athletic. They mustn't be too tall, no, neither too short. They have to have blue eyes or green eyes. They have to have an oval face. Oval.
And what kind of genitalia?
I don't mind. I don't mind that part.
If you're going to be that exacting, I was waiting for that. I was only helping. Really? So you have now narrowed your potential mates down to about 3, and they live all over the world. They're scattered everywhere. Now you got to go find one of those 3. Oh my. Okay, let me wrap this part up. What I would do in a seminar, I mean, I think it's kind of interesting I think it's interesting that you have an understanding of this. You realize firsthand that, hey, you know, you've done some bad shit and you've had it done to you. But what I would do when this was over, because in a Bushido training, it's very traumatic, as there's a lot of crying and carrying on, and when they finally come up, it's like, whew, the energy in the room is unbelievable. And I always keep the lights pretty low. And I don't think I've ever done this with less than about 50 people, usually with more. And so I have them, here's what I say to them. And I have Neil Diamond's song, I've Been Here Before, queued up to turn on. And I have, until that time, I have used music. Have you ever heard Vangelis, Heaven and Hell? Where it's just, woman, it sounds like all these people are just in the gates of hell, and it just, the music is just, it can almost undo you. And so I'll play that during this whole process while I'm shouting over it. And, but then we back that off. And I will say, all right, I want everyone to quietly stand up and listen closely to my words. That's it. Stand up and be perfectly quiet. And now I want you to begin to move around the room slowly and look in the eyes of those who have just shared your experience. Allow your eyes to meet someone else's eyes for a few moments, and then move on to the next person. So move around now. Look into each other's eyes and see the pain and see the love in their eyes. And so now the music is coming up with Neil Diamond's song, I've Been Here Before. It's a song about reincarnation. And he is saying, I've seen these eyes before, I will see these eyes again. Lyrics along that line. Those eyes speak volumes, and they date back centuries, eons. So look closely and see the eyes of those who have hurt you and those who caused you so much pain. They are no longer nameless faces. They are here all around you again. So look at the love in their eyes. Can you forgive them? They love you. You created them to help you learn and they created you. Look closely now and see the eyes of those you hurt. They are all one and the same. These are people who you caused to suffer human misery. Yet look in their eyes, they love you. Can you forgive yourself? Can you love them? Don't look away or look down. These are the people who have interacted with you before, so release them. Release yourself. Let go and be free. Be free and be aware that there is no separateness. We are all one. As you look in their eyes, see yourself. And now listen to the words of this song as you continue to look around and into the eyes that surround you. Allow yourself this time to release and let go of the past. Live this moment through the eyes of us all. Be one. And so then the music is brought up really quite loud, and they simply wander around and look in each other's eyes. The purpose is to realize that they've gone through it, you've gone through it, we're all one, get over it. You know, quit dwelling on being a victim. Realize that you've done it, they've done it to you, you've done it to them. Get over it. It's after both those, the victim and after the perpetrator of human suffering. And so I do a Lone Ranger exit whenever I'm doing this process, and that means, that's just my name for it, is that I'm gone. And I just leave somebody on staff there to let them interact for as long as they want to. And the song just plays and plays and plays. So sometimes they'll walk around good 45 minutes after it's all done. I'm back in my room and I'm asleep by the time they end up leaving. But it has such an impact upon everybody who's there that I don't think anybody who's experienced that they won't think that they are a victim again. So I'm going to do it just for you. I'm going to put.
I'm a hero.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're not the victim you keep talking about?
No. I'm a hero.
Well, all right. But you said everybody was doing it to you.
Yes, well, that's true. It doesn't mean that I feel like a victim.
Okay.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Okay, so this is a human potential process. People have gone through a Friday night, a Saturday. I set the Saturday night up with a lot of tension on purpose so that they will not know what is coming. And so they're they go out to dinner and they don't know what's really going to happen when they come back from dinner. And this will start about 8 o'clock and it'll run through to at least 10:30. So this is all human potential stuff. The Bushido training, yeah, and so I just created a training with a lot of help from the people who I know who are involved with LifeSpring and actualizations primarily. I have great respect for Stuart Emery's training, which was actualizations. But I pretty much had the human potential training that incorporated reincarnation, and as part of what it was all about. So there were about 8, 9, maybe 10 major human potential trainings at that time. And I'll do it once in a while, but like I said, I don't really have the heart to do it. To be that mean with people if you have to be. So I really am kind of like I can't do it. It's primarily a word of mouth thing. And it really does help people. I mean, I still get letters from people that say, boy, you changed my life. You turned my life around. And they were just so popular there in the 80s, all through the 80s. And I mentioned that Lauren and I created this training and conducted it for quite a while, but she died of breast cancer. And the times were changing. There is not that much market anymore for human potential training, although Forum is still working. That's the S training brought up to speed. Now it's going off. Landmark training is still going, and I think maybe Insights once in a while. Well, not with Werner at the helm. No, the government ran him out of the country. So, but he must have sold it or willed it, passed it on to somebody, and it's the Forum today. And I just think that they openly brainwash people, and they don't mind. Yeah, yeah. Well, each one was done different. Werner and John Hanley were the two main key people in the human potential trainings. Yeah, and there was difference in the way they approached it, and so Werner, I think that S became more popular because Werner was willing to put himself out front as the leader, and John Hanley was willing to have the training speak for itself. Yep. Yeah, they brainwash, and just for your information, they would get some of the most effective results in the training with music. They were just, as part of every training, they had a man who would just be the music man. And he would know where every song was on every tape or whatever they were using. Tapes when I was doing it. And he could cue up a song and put it on real loud while the trainer was processing and working upon an individual. And boy, it just, there was more catharsis with LifeSpring through the music than there was anything else. And they felt they weren't doing their job if they didn't have 1 out of 4 people throwing up. Yeah. Yeah. But if the right personality was really effective, I mean, people really got it. If you took the whole S training, when it was done, you got that what is. Yeah. 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 Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Oh boy. Well, I have a problem with a lot of what they do, but they helped a lot of people. They were willing to take a very positive human trait, like keeping your agreements in life, and they would get you to agree to keep your agreements. And if you don't agree to keep your agreements, then they're going to hassle you individually, or they're probably going to toss you out. And so then they subvert this very, it's a beautiful human value. And they say, well, you're agreeing to bring 3 people to the training next Wednesday night. Is there anybody in here that doesn't agree? And anybody that who raised their hands, the trainer just came down on them. And they still do that in the in the forum. They make you agree that you're going. It's called sell it by zealot in the business. But if you know Zen, you can bypass a lot of that. You know, they can say, well, why didn't you bring somebody? And if you say, you know, when I said I didn't bring anybody in the training, but I was trying to monitor it. Yeah, exactly. And they said, I didn't bring anybody because I chose not to bring somebody. And that's using the Zen against them. Because if they believe in it that strongly, and then you make that sort of a statement, they'll go, oh, okay. And they'll let it go. Yeah. Yeah. So it's interesting, but this stuff still works. And this stuff is still being used. It's just not as real popular today as it was. Oh, it was huge. Oh, and boy, it was a big thing for me. Yeah. 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 And they get converts. They bring people back, and that grows the training. But you got to be willing to do those things, and that's where I just I was not willing to sell it by sell it. I wouldn't respond to that, and if I wouldn't respond to that, I couldn't ask other people to do it. And so, you know, we had to do it just on the basis of referrals. Yeah, yeah. But maybe she got even by. Yeah. Oh no, I didn't mean it like that. But by being a bitch to them during the training, if. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, they regretted it. Okay, well. Are we going to do automatic writing? Anything else that we have to cover on this? I know you think right now, well, what value is this going to be? But I think it will be a value in time. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if people keep harping that they're a victim,
That's when you need to pull something out of the hat, and then you get them in LifeSpring. They say you start processing them, and you do not let them not answer. You do not, because they will avoid, they will spin around everything. You do what they call keeping them on sword point. And that's a matter of keeping the person that you have right there. You keep them on the point. Don't let them get away when you're doing that processing. You make them answer each thing that you're looking to have answered. And no, just when you're processing them. You do an awful lot of processing in this one-to-one. I'd walk up to you in a training, and then I would get on you and about what you were doing, or if I didn't feel that it was valuable, or I'd be making a point. No, not the pre-interview. Big seminar training. During one of the processes, I might say, well, what's your reaction to this? And somebody would maybe put up their hand and say, I think it's bullshit. And so then, I would walk right up to them, right in their face. Yeah, and I'd have somebody on staff who would walk up right behind them to catch them if I hypnotized them real fast. And so you just move like lightning in the training.
But to do this victim thing, this I'm thinking more of if we did it one-on-one this time.
Yes.
Would you have them be quiet like we were and experience it, or would you have them like they have something we promised?
I probably would say, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you doing that? I'd be real assertive in the way I conducted the regression. Yeah, yes, I would. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, oftentimes you're going to get there anyway. But do remember, if they're crying or carrying on, the brain slate is wiped clean. And you have a real responsibility to program it then in a very positive way.
So one of my clients wasn't even able to listen to the CD.
Yeah.
The slate wasn't.
I'm not surprised. Well, no, his brain slate was clean. It was cleaned off so that he is now open and receptive to new suggestions. Well, he probably it was too painful. Yeah, it was just too painful to do that. Yeah, yeah. But the new suggestions will be implanted with a real force. So. Yeah, yeah. I don't care if they cry. For a long time in the seminars, just the regular seminars, I really would say, I hope you have a shitty regression. I really do. Because if there's something in there that needs to come up, and now's the time. And so, and what you'll do is you'll generate, you make it all right, and people will cry, and they'll carry on. But it can work against you too, because if somebody is totally hysterical, then everybody wakes up. So you've got to decide what and where and how far you want to push it. They're very responsive in hypnosis to how far you push it. Well, give them a self-releasing suggestion when you're going to do this. And so if they use it and they wake up, then it's okay. It's okay, and you can talk about it afterwards or whatever, but they can wake themselves up purposely. And then remember, too, we talked about the headphones, where if you're working with a group and if you're going to get edgy at all, boy, then it really becomes important that they have a support team member who can put the earphones on and wake them up. Yeah.
And obviously we're introducing a new modality to our service, and we want to get people into.
Right.
So what I sort of see myself doing, because the other people can relate to it, I sort of have a max of 6 people that I would ever want to do this with this class.
Right.
Okay, I don't see myself doing this just because I...
Don't.
All right, excuse me. In the beginning, I'm adding the words in the beginning.
Okay.
Or until I find a location with a phone signal. Or until I get invited to a larger group where I have it.
Okay.
I'll bring you guys. So, anyways, just think as I start out.
Yeah.
6 people max. You said don't need a sound system because you just know it's protected.
Sure.
And what would be some typical things that we could do? Because there's a trust level, there's a perception around it. I mean, as much as hypnosis is accepted, it is also a concern and a scary point to people.
Yeah.
So obviously, how many your body's used to it, all that pre-talk stuff.
Sure.
But also, I want to let them go away with one or two experiences.
Sure.
And I was just wondering, for hypnosis, what would be a first experience that you would recommend? And
Well-
not to pass like that, but what would be the first thing? I've got a new group. Hey, I want to learn about what hypnosis is. Can you give them a talk about
Oh,
hypnosis, and then
sure.
have an experience something short? What would you recommend?
Okay, well, you don't want to take them on a metaphysical, experiential journey of any kind, or do you?
Show me out something to recommend.
Well, of course, regression, that's certainly going to be one, or any of a huge number of things that you get, you line up on your, in a schedule of what you can do. Like the NGH, I was just talking on the phone with him here at the last break, or the break before, and I have just sent them for August 19, or 2010, 19. I'm giving them about 25 different things I could do. And some of them are an hour session. And I say, well, I could make those into 2-hour sessions. And some are a whole long training. In other words, it'd take 2 days to do this if they want to do it. But any of those 1-hour sessions could be done. Now, telepathy, psychometry. But these are metaphysical, experiential sessions. Well, the Walk-In Wanderer we did the other day. Remote viewing. There's a lot of different things you could do like that. Or you could do a meditation. And so, you know, at that's a little safer, where you write a meditation and you decide, well, what do you want it to be about? Maybe you want to be about, they're going to go through all these experiences, and when they get there, they're going to find the book of life waiting on a big altar in the sky or on the top of the mountain or wherever you want to guide them to. And go up there, and it's your name on the front. And now open it up and start reading. Or guide them, use one of the psychological tests. You know, you're walking down a path, you're coming to a cabin. Now, in this cabin, as you open the door, there's an old man, there's a wisdom figure, so whatever it may be. And you find a key, and you know, you just go, there's a lot of just basic simple tests like that, but they can be made, woven into a meditation journey where they're visualizing, and that's safe, and people will, oh, wow, you know, they'll have experiences, and they'll say, well, how did I, you know, somebody else got something different, they got this, and Tara's got one, it's called The Path, and you know, she's even has them looking at the kind of flowers, and if they see wildflowers, that might be more indicative of if they have to work on a cure of Oriental medicine, where if they're seeing traditional flowers, petunias and geraniums and so on, that might be more indicative of using traditional medicine. And so she weaves all that stuff together. As you're going through this, just experience. You know, you are, what's the terrain like? What's the road like? Is it smooth? Is it a great path? It's smooth, or it's well paved, or is it rough? And what's the weather like? Is it nice sunny day, or is it cloudy, or is it, you know, this sort of thing. And they're just like a psychological test, and you can make up what they're about, really. I mean, a little common sense. And so a session like that's fun for everybody to do. And then tell them, before you wake them up, say, you realize that you were in hypnosis. You were deeply hypnotized at this time. You may feel that you can open your eyes at any time, and you probably can. But you are hypnotized, and you no longer doubt that you were hypnotized, and da-da-da-da. And you wake them up. And most everybody is going to realize that they were. They'll say, oh my God, I was so relaxed. Oh yes, sure. You can't win all of the people all of the time or something like that. So you could do that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, now that's a human potential. That's like the stuff we've been doing today. But it's really good, because what that is doing is it's exposing their beliefs, which are not, nobody is normally tapping into that kind of material. And so, whoa, I have that kind of a feeling about money? Oh my God, I better start thinking positive. And so on. So. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Well, I would try, if you could, Cindy, to create a situation where at least, you could maybe do it in 15 minutes of your presentation, but you'd say, you know, this is hypnosis. And let me get, just so you have a better understanding, let me give you a few case histories that I've recently worked on, just the last few weeks. And then each one of those little stories you're going to tell, keep them about 1 minute in length. And this is good for everybody to do in here, boy, to just, when you're driving down the road, or you're lying there and sleep, and you're not, to go to bed and you're not going to sleep yet, work on telling these stories in as fast as you can. In other words, try to keep them about 1 minute, maybe a minute and a half at the most, because then anytime you go on TV, you can just pull those stories out, and nothing works better than stories to get the interest of the host will leave you alone if you tell stories, and you tell really interesting stories about a man. Boy, he didn't have an ear last week, but I got him in hypnosis, and I regrew one now. You know, I'm being really silly, but you just tell some dramatic case histories. And so you can do that with the people in your small seminar. Mm. Mm-hmm. I would agree with that 1,000%. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Stop smoking and weight loss are what most hypnotists count on. You know, boy, they just count on that fact. But most hypnotists don't know the first thing about metaphysics. They may have learned how to do past life regression because it's taught at all the conventions. If they don't know anything about metaphysics, they shouldn't be doing it, but they, you know, because they don't have the understanding of it. But mm-hmm. Sure, sure. Yeah. Good, good, and have them change the mental movies all the time. You know, come up with several. Come up with several mental movies, but women sometimes do not want to tell you their weight. You know, well, yeah. So you just say, "What? Okay, we're going to work toward a goal. What size dress do you want to be wearing?" Now, realistically, what size outfit? Yeah, sure. Yeah, good, 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 good. Are you really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Coming up, when I leave, he's about this big.
Yeah,
Couch potato.
yeah,
No problem.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I'm doing a one-on-one with the Mexicana to an interpreter, because she doesn't speak any English.
Sure.
Now I'm going to find me an interpreter and hire her, and I'm going to start doing some Spanish.
Good deal. Good deal.
It works doing interpreter.
I know. I got a whole bunch of friends go to Japan all the time, and they automatically supply the interpreter if they're coming over there to do
I
hypnosis.
know two of those interpreters that come in from Japanese Institute. I know two of them.
Yeah.
One of them's about this tall. She was a captain on a Japanese airline. And I said, how in the hell did you get to those controls?
Yeah.
Well, I just jacked it up. I got there.
Aw.
They're bringing 2 or 3 back plane loads a year.
Okay.
Japan.
Okay.
Japan, for some reason. Last October, I was in a workshop with playing with the Dolphins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you mentioned that. Yeah, I know you talked about the Dolphins. Yeah.
And there was 20 of us in that group, and 8 from them, 8 from Japan.
Yeah.
In that group. And the only one spoke English. I started to go back to Japan. God damn, they
Interesting how you think, Orna.
I think that's going to be his next life.
Yeah, that's the next shot. Yeah.
Yeah, we had 6 from England, 8 from Japan, 2 from Hong Kong, and they were, you could read it in
Yeah.
And let's see what. I don't know. But anyhow, it's wonderful. Oh, by the way, they dolphins sang happy birthday to her.
I know you mentioned that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Little movements to the lips.
I think that's cute.
Flappers went back down in the water.
I think that's cute. All right, now what else on wrapping this up? Did I answer your questions adequately there, Cindy? Do you?
Yeah. Yeah, no. It's
Yeah, and boy, oh boy, there's just so many different processes that you could do. You can invent new ones pretty easily if you need to. Yeah, yeah,
Think about everything we learned these last few days, that's essential wellness.
Yeah.
Spirit contact, soul, soul breathing, things like that. I mean, your purpose, you can talk about it as,
Yeah.
your purpose, like,
yeah,
finding your soul, but if you think about everything we learned,
yeah,
that's why this one really started,
yeah,
hypnosis, stuff that,
yeah, yeah. Well, I would say too, one thing that I didn't mention that really would help to do it if it's part of your program, you would demonstrate a one-to-one session. In other words, hypnotize somebody in front of the group and they will be fascinated with it. After a while, you guys, it gets pretty boring after a while. But no, people are really fascinated. And then you've taken the mystery out of it. And be watching for your best subject. Be watching for your best subjects. You can tell a lot by the way they're relaxing. If you're talking, if you ever have them speak up. I mean, a good subject will become quite obvious. And have them talk about what they received. Well, if you're doing something and they responded or they received really well, well, there's your subject to pick at the end and just say, well, I've got to do an individual regression. Oh, Cindy, would you be willing to come up and I can just, and you're simply calling on the one person who is, is going to be really good in there. Chances are most of them would be, but or whatever, it could be any kind of session. It could be stop smoking. I want to give you the first stage of stop smoking. And stop drinking. Lose weight. Whatever it might be. If you've got a whole bunch of people and you haven't done anything metaphysical, maybe, depending upon how you set it up, maybe it'd be really, it'd work to do past life. But I wouldn't want to do that if I didn't know my audience, where they came from and how they happened to be there, at least in general.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You sure will. Yeah, big punishment, but yeah. Da 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 da. But it's chanting. You go in. You're going to go in. Yeah. Right in. They're speaking up when there's other people around in the. Oh, I see. She was leading it. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Well, let's talk about automatic writing for a minute. You're going to do automatic writing, huh? Okay. Okay. Man, I could tell stories all day about automatic writing, but we sure we didn't do this before.
We did that in Florida. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Of course, automatic writing is just channeling through your hands, just as you're channeling, a medium is channeling with somebody in spirit who's sharing information. Verbal channeling. It's just another medium, another technique. And I don't even recall my first experiences with it. I'm pretty good at it. Tara is incredibly good at it. It's because she sat in the back of the seminar room for a long time when we were first together, and it get boring back there when you come to these sessions, so she started participating in the automatic writing sessions, and she just developed an ability, and she refined it, and boy, I've still got tons and tons of her automatic writing on the website. And you can go there and you can see it, because the way she set it up with Abenda is somebody would write her a letter, and so they wanted help. And so Tara would say to her spirit guide, do you have someone that knew this person in life? And they could write through my hand, and we could understand why this person has this problem. And so maybe it's the individual, the letter writer, because they would send, she just received this huge amount of mail, and people would say, I have this horrible problem, I can't get along with my husband, or I have this physical problem, and just everything that you can imagine would come in the mail. And so she'd just pick out a letter that seemed to have a lot of energy on it for her. And then Abenda would get somebody that knew this person. They knew them in life, but they're now in spirit. And they set up a real, I don't know how effective it was, I question sometimes, but they would come in through a higher level, and they would sit with Tara outside of where Abenda is at. And so Tara said she saw them sit down at the table across from her, just as real if it was somebody that they were seeing like we are right now. And she would say, okay, I'm ready now. And that person would start to write through her hand. And at first she would try to let them write in the handwriting, their own handwriting. And so, my God, they were the biggest differences in all of the handwriting. And once it was this new person's handwriting, it would be consistent, page after page. And she would get this information that we had proof on again and again and again, because we'd publish it in our magazine, because we were doing all the marketing in those days was with a magazine. And people were always getting right back to us and saying, oh my God, because maybe a woman's father said, well, tell her da-da-da-da-da-da. And they'd get back then the minute they'd read it and say, that's what my dad always said to me before I went to bed. And so the clarification was really great. But she allowed somebody else to use her hand. She didn't know that person, but that person was associated with a letter writer. I'm not explaining this very well, but do you understand what I mean? Whoever sent in the letter. Yeah, Tara would. But whoever sent Tara the letter, now she was in touch with someone that knew that letter writer. And so she is doing automatic writing for, well, usually it would go back into a past life situation. Yeah, very often, usually. But, and so that was kind of a unique way to set it up. Now, we can't do that in here now. And I don't know why I'm telling you this, but you're going to go out and use it. So how you perfect it, why, you could have that in mind. Oh, really? Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Oh my God, there's there's thousands of pages on the website. Oh, yeah, well, anyway,
So it's spirit coming through your writing.
it's spirit coming through your writing. I've had so many, many different experiences, my own, other people. I like to tell them stories on other people. There's a book called In Silence They Return, and I think it's back in print now. It's a wonderful story of a woman whose husband was killed on the way home from work, and she had several children with him, about 3 kids if I remember rightly, but she had never worked in her life. And so she didn't have any money-making skills, so to speak, and they were living pretty much on the edge as it was, so she went into complete panic. And she was just doodling one night, and all of a sudden she came up with him coming through, and he guided her through this whole process of establishing herself. And he'd do things like go over to the neighbor's encyclopedia, and on page 323 of volume 14, you're going to find exactly what I mean. And then she'd do that, and that would be exactly what she needed to know. And so, you know, it's a beautiful story of someone who loves their mate, but they're now in spirit, and they are guiding them to figure out how to make life work and how to support those kids. Jess Stern, when he was writing The Sleeping Prophet, which was the story of Edgar Cayce, and really popularized Edgar Cayce more than anything else. And if you've never read the book, it's a wonderful book. It's a short little book, but it's called The Sleeping Prophet. And the what? Jess Stern. But by God, you know, he said, boy, I think old Edgar walked in, because he said he came, all of a sudden I was just getting messages, and he'd be writing and new message come out, and he would say, well, I don't like the title, but if you would call it this, it would be more appropriate, and let's change the first chapter and put it way back here, and let's bring this chapter up there. And so Cayce just took over The Sleeping Prophet from Jess, but primarily through automatic writing. And he loved to tell that story when he was alive. David Paladin, who's one of my primary teachers, a Navajo, a white man raised Navajo. And David he loved to have just classes at his house, or people would come over on Friday night and there'd just be big discussions and no charge. And so one night he had like the president and the vice president and some of the key officers with Prescott College at his house, and they were talking about death. And one of the men said, well, I can't get this. I just don't understand it. And David said, well, I could tap into someone who's dying if you would like me to, and we could understand exactly what they're going through. And so he said the best way is going to be through automatic writing. I'll just do it, and maybe we can compress time, or maybe not. I don't know how it's going to work out. And so it's very obvious as you listen to it that a man has died in a cheap hotel in Sirocco, New Mexico. We found out that through a little investigation and the name of the hotel and so on. But he died in Sirocco, New Mexico. It begins with the bellboy coming upstairs and finding his body and going, oh my God, he's dead, and you know, just running around like And here's the guy who has just died, and he's going, you pimply-faced idiot, I'm not dead. And, you know, because he doesn't realize he's dead. He does not realize that he has crossed over. And so he is reacting very much to what the kid says, but he's saying, I'm not dead. And then all of a sudden, there is a woman there that he knew in life, and he's saying, Susan. what are you doing here? But you're dead. And she's explaining to him that so is he. And he's having a hard time buying it. And she's saying, well, now you can create, you can have anything you like. You can go anywhere. If you think about it, it will be there for you. And you can just go experience. And I still remember that he had a lake somewhere that he'd love to go to fish. And he said, you mean I could go back to lake such and such? And she went, well, yeah. And he was there. And he was going, oh my God, it is like such and such. And she was working with him to understand that thoughts are things on the other side. And it was okay, and he really was dead. And so there was a lot of this sort of a material in the writing. And then it ended basically with him seemingly accepting the fact that he was dead and going off, I would suppose, into the light. But the people from Prescott College, especially this younger guy, he just couldn't buy it. And so the next day he called Sirocco, New Mexico Sheriff Department and said, do you know about anybody, and he had a first name, I believe, and a little information, but who died in the such and such hotel last night? And the officer quite literally said, yeah, but who are you and where are you calling from? Because we just discovered the body. So it's wonderful writing of David's. Yeah. Yeah. And we've got your phone number now. Where were you last night? So there again, automatic writing. I'm just sharing some stories that I recall. I don't know why. That one came up really strong. Ruth Montgomery used to, she's written several books, as you probably realize, where she has allowed the guides to write the books for her. And Ruth would get up every morning at basically the same time, and she would say a little prayer, and she would sit down at an electric typewriter in those days, and she would write for about 15 minutes. And 15 minutes over a period of several months, you've got a book. Because, your hands are just going as fast as you don't have to think. The guides were writing the book for her. And so that is very, very effective way to do the automatic writing. Brad Steiger is a good friend. Brad has probably written more metaphysical books than anyone else. I think about 300 now. He and his wife Sherry create them together these days. And he lived in Scottsdale, Arizona at the same time I did. And so we'd oftentimes have lunch together. And there was a point where Brad became sick and tired of writing one more typical nonfiction book. And nonfiction books are pretty easy to write. But he wanted to write an allegory. He wanted to use true case histories, but he'd tell the story as if it were fiction. And so he decided that he was pretty insecure about writing a fiction style book, because he was an English teacher and he was a good, solid, factual writer, but that writing where you're allowing the heart and you have to have winning characters and all that stuff, that was a whole different world to him. And he said, you know what? He says, don't tell anybody, but I'm going to get help on this. I said, really? What are you going to do? And he said, well, I'm going to call in my favorite writers to help me write this. And I said, who would that be, Brad? Knowing I knew a lot of it already, but he said Nathaniel Hawthorne and Edgar Allan Poe. And he had said before how much he admired Hawthorne, so I knew that was going to be one of the people. And now this next part is really exactly as it happened. We have the same agent, or we did at that time. I still have the same agent. But when the book was all done, and Poe and Hawthorne helped him to write it, he ended up sending it to Bob Silverman, agent. And Bob, you know, for an agent, a writing agent, he knows words. He can spot an influence. He can, like a musician, you know, another musician hears and he knows who influenced that riff, and boom. Anyway, Bob said, this is the weirdest thing, Brad. I mean, I don't get this at all. I like the book. And he said, it's sure you, but he says it also reads like Poe and Hawthorne. And so I can talk about it now. I couldn't before, because if that had not come out. But automatic writing. He simply got out of the way and let Poe and Hawthorne come in. And I do sincerely believe that once you exist, you know, your energy is going to live forever on the other side. You may reincarnate, but someone is going to be able to tap into your energy through automatic writing probably 1,000 years down the line. So you want to be careful who you contact. There was a time when Valley of the Sun Publishing, when it was growing a little bit too fast, and I had a lot of questions. Boy, I really wanted to ask. I didn't know quite what to do. And so somebody said, well, why don't you just ask somebody on the other side who's in the publishing business? Good idea. Bad idea as it worked out. So I thought, well, William Randolph Hearst is really in the publishing business. Forgot about the fact this is a man who was willing to start a war to sell newspapers. I would too now, Dina, believe me. Come on, you know, Nita, you know, give me approval on this choice of mine. And so anyway, he did come in. I felt, boy, did I feel he came in. And I just wrote like I'm crazy. It's just fast. It just poured out. And then when I woke up, I looked at the writing and I thought, I can't do that because I think I'd go to jail if I did that. And man, I don't want to live with the karmic repercussions of number 2. And I went down the whole paper, and there wasn't a thing on there morally I was willing to do. And that was that. You know, I didn't look there anymore. But Jimmy Moore, who is the guy that he's famous for having developed the LifeSpring advanced training, and we were doing something together, and he was leading an altered state process. And here came William Randolph Hearst again. And I said, well, sorry, you know, I didn't do what you said. And he said, well, I know you didn't, but if you had, it would have worked. And so be careful about who you ask to write. Well, I mean, to him, they weren't immoral. They were just business as usual. Well, I'm not so sure he wasn't earthbound, Isabel. One would hope, but not if one refuses to go on to, you know, a lot of people, you don't have to go on. You remember the park he saw? That's very common. They're just going to go over and they're going to stay here. They're just going to let thoughts be things, and they're not going to go on. It doesn't mean they're evil. It doesn't mean they're bad. It's just they're not ready to go on. Well, they just linger on the earth. They want to be there. Like I mentioned, Grandma Cannon, you know, she's waiting for her kids to die. She just doesn't feel that she can go on and leave her children behind. So she's built a beautiful little house, and she goes in there and she cooks her meals every day, and she's quite content to live at this level. She's created it with her mind. And so very much like what she had when she was living on earth. That's her earthbound. But yeah, but she's chosen it for a reason. My kids aren't here with me yet. And there's 2 more that'll have to die before she's willing to listen and go on. Yeah, but that's what I say. He's earthbound. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I suppose. I suppose she's, Tara says she always is inviting her to come and I'll cook for you. I'll cook you a meal. And Tara doesn't like to linger at that level. So she says, no, Grandma, I've got to go up and see Abenda, but thank you. But she stays at a level. Abenda will not come down to that level. She just refuses. So. No. Yeah.
So they influence certain countries here on earth. Yet, well, they're bad. Remember, Adolf Hitler. And so many other people that's been a little bit nasty in this life, but they still are out there.
Yeah.
Speaking of earthbound, that's ghosts that have something to do with the earth. They can't leave it. They can't leave the earth. They've been dancing with an old gal that comes out of the graveyard in New York for a few years. She's not real. She's a ghost. But they said they're still dancing. They've got a name for her even. They're soldiers that down in the South that are owning houses from the Civil War.
Yeah.
Earthbound.
Yep.
That's the earthbound. It's right here.
Yeah. It's right here. That's why you have so many probably, there's a lot of people right here in Lilydale. This place is, boy, it's just, does it feel to you, Susan, that there is an awful lot of people who are still on the earth plane here? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I know. I know. So, yeah. Yeah, no, I don't call them ghosts either. I call them spirits. But they're not down the lower plane. They're on this plane. And so they're still here. They're comfortable here. They don't mean anybody, most of the time, they don't mean anybody any harm. They're just here. And they're choosing not to go on. It's not that they aren't offered the opportunity to do it.
Well, we don't know if this is the writer was earthbound or if it was
Oh, he wasn't on the lower astral plane. No, absolutely no. I wouldn't have been able to pull him out of there to work with me, number one, not come up out of the lower astral, no. Yeah, no, that would not happen. But if I asked him to come in, I always feel that you will not be influenced by a vibration, somebody with a vibrational rate lower than your own, unless you invite them in. I know, I invited him in, see. But it's like when you go on the Ouija board. Dumbest thing in the world is you go, whoa, anybody there? Go on in. Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, not really down in the lower astral. They're pretty much entrapped until they work their way out of there or they listen to somebody. Yeah. They're really entrapped there. These people, like around here, they might even know that something better awaits them if they care to go, but they're choosing not to right now. Their mate's still right here, or their friends, or the ex-lover, or who knows. And they're staying because they don't want to leave them. I mean, there are lots of reasons that they could be making that choice. Well, a man like Arthur Ford. Now, Arthur Ford had incredible knowledge. Arthur Ford was a medium, a tremendous medium, but he was also an alcoholic. And so when he died, he just stayed around the bars so he could get a contact high off of the people, that were drinking and so on. But when there came a time when he joined Ruth Montgomery's group of Lily and these other people in spirit. He joined their group, and now Ruth would be part of that group too, since she has died. But you know, he didn't go up to heaven, I don't think, and come back down. He just simply joined this group that's still here to communicate with people as their work, as their service work. Surely Ruth Montgomery, of anybody, would know enough to go on to go to a higher level. So, automatic writing. Now, I have a little advice, and I would like you to write at the top of the page who you would like to come through you. No, let's just keep this real simple. One. Now, you can obviously ask for your spirit guides. You can ask for anyone. You could ask Jesus to come through. You know you're in good hands. You could ask Buddha. You could probably ask Einstein. You know, there might be a lot of different people that you could ask, but be careful. And if you know somebody here on earth that always gave you wonderful advice, and they've died, and you sense, you know, you have an understanding of that person, they might be good to ask as well. But your spirit guide, your higher self, many times I've just chosen especially after asking William Randolph Hearst to come in, I decided I better stick with my higher self. So you can ask higher self to come in. But right at the top of the page, who you would like to come through you. And then, beneath that, write a question. Now, don't try to squeeze in 20 questions. Just write a question, well worded, simply worded. You can always go on if you have extra time, and you can ask another question, but don't confuse it by trying to get more than one question in. And so you have the name of the person you wish to contact, and beneath that, a question that you would like to have answered. All right, now, you want the energy to flow through you, and you want it to, you know, an open circuit in metaphysics is left hand palm up to receive and right hand palm down to give out. You are wanting to keep an energy, you want to start it and keep it going. And so, once we begin this, I suggest that you just, until you're receiving something, you just make ovals, because you're keeping the energy flowing through your hand down to the paper, and you're just making ovals until maybe something takes over your hand, or I'm going to talk about intuitive writing here in a moment. But keep the energy flowing through your hand. Now, you can open your eyes just barely. I think I'm going to want to turn off the lights in the room here. But just barely enough to keep your pen on the paper, or to avoid writing on top of each line that you've written. You don't want to come back, and you don't want to... yeah, thanks, Susan. Good. Yeah, that's good. So, now, you're in control. Keep that in mind, too. You're in control, and you can dictate what you want done here as an example of something silly. But I had told everybody to begin writing, and they started writing, and I'm hearing this shh, shh, shh. And he was writing so big that if he's writing the word when, he'd write W-E, E-N. And so, I mean, it's a true story. If you find yourself writing huge like that, you simply say, on the count of 3, we're going to write smaller, a lot smaller. And so you take control. You can, yeah, I think yours is fine. You could get just a W on yeah. So that's basically it. I'm going to give you a lot of protection, and that's what it amounts to. Trust. But now we've talked up until this point only about automatic writing, true automatic writing, where you get out of the way and spirit comes to your hand. Now, not everybody is capable of doing automatic writing right off the bat. I think it's one of the easiest things that you can develop in this whole psychic world. Automatic writing, just you can usually break through very quickly. But there's also intuitive writing. And intuitive writing is what probably you want to do if you're working with a lot of people, is tell them that now ideally you want your hand just to take off, but if that doesn't happen, then you are going to, if a strong thought comes into your mind, write it down. Just write it down. Whatever the thought is, write it down, and then go back to moving, doing ovals and going along. And another thought comes into your mind, write it down. Just go ahead and write it. And you keep doing this. In other words, if you do intuitive writing, pretty soon you're going to be ending up doing automatic writing. That's my experience with everybody that I've taught to do this. And so, if you're not receiving the automatic writing, go for intuitive writing and see what happens. Okay. That's it. That's it. Hey, listen. Yeah. Ha ha. Yes, I'm good. I'm good. This is working. Do I have to do it again? Aha. I like that little funny tube or whatever it is. All right. So I'd like you to begin to breathe deeply. I guess I'm going to shut this off. Boy, this seems like a lot. And I'm taking this. Okay. I'm going to slip into the bathroom for a moment. I want you to listen to this sound. Slow down your thoughts. Listen to the sound. Concentrate fully upon the sound. deeply and relaxing completely. So relaxed and so at ease. So relaxed and so at ease. And now feel the relaxing power moving in to both of your feet at the same time. Right on down into the ball, into your arches, into your heels, and right on up to your ankles. And feel the relaxing power moving up your legs. Moving up your legs and into your upper legs, to your thighs and to your hips, permeating every cell and every atom. And you're relaxing completely, keeping your full attention on the sound of my voice and relaxing your body. So relaxed and so at ease. Your hands are relaxing. So relaxed. Feel the warmth now moving down into the base of your spine, into your root chakra. And then on up your spine and into the back of your neck and shoulder muscles. And so the back of your neck and shoulder muscles are loose and limp, loose and limp. Just completely relaxed now. And the relaxing sensation moves on up the back of your neck, into your scalp, relaxing your scalp. Allow a little space between your teeth, and your throat is relaxed. And your entire body is now relaxed all over in every way. And all tension is gone from your body and mind. So now you're just letting go. You're letting go. Feel yourself relaxed and at ease. So relaxed, so at ease. And imagine yourself going down, down, deeper and deeper, down. Number 7, deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 6, deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 5, deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 4, deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 3, deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 2, deeper, 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 down, down, down. Number 1. And you're now relaxed and at ease, and you feel peacefully centered, in balance and in harmony, and a quietness
quietness of spirit permeates your body and mind. And we're now going to work together to open a channel for successful automatic writing. Now you absolutely have the power and ability to step outside of yourself and to allow the energy of your higher mind or an entity of your choice to communicate through your hand, through automatic writing. All right, now it's time to call in your guides and masters to assist you and to spiritually protect you during this session. So call out silently in your mind. Call them in. Hear your voice echo out across the universe and back to you. And your guides and masters are coming in. They're here with you now. And now focus upon what you desire to learn through automatic writing. Simplify your question. One well-worded sentence, which you are to repeat now over and over as a mental mantra. And it's time to make contact with the source of the information you were seeking. So the name you've written at the top of the page, silently in your mind, make your wishes known. Call out to the entity or source of the automatic writing. Ask them to join you now, to open and write through your hand, so that you may attain information you desire now. Now your guides, your masters, they're right here with you. The source of awareness is at hand. And it's now time to intensify the spiritual protection, to visualize very, very vividly the white God light. So see it around you. See the light begin to concentrate in your heart area. This is the God light. You draw it down from above. It enters your crown chakra on the top of your head, moves down through the chakra centers into your heart. And now imagine the light emerging from your heart area and totally surrounding you in an aura of bright, protective God light. And you seek divine protection in the white light of God's love. You seek protection from all things seen and unseen, all forces and all elements. Protection assuring you only make contact with highly evolved and loving entities or with your own higher mind. So you ask it, you beseech it, you mark it, and so it is. You are totally protected now, and only your own guides and masters, or those you invite in, may influence you in any way and communicate through your hand. So now in just a moment, I will direct you to open your eyes, just barely open, and begin writing. You absolutely have the power and the ability to allow this energy to flow through you and to receive awareness to this technique. All right, now it's time. On the count of 3, you just barely open your eyes and you begin to write automatically. Open to the awareness. Allow it to come through. Number 1, number 2, and number 3. Just let go of this now and finish up within a minute. And now thank those who have helped you, those or the individual that is written through your hand, your own higher mind, your guides, your masters who have been there to support you. Thank them and know that you can return at any time, all on your own, and continue to do automatic writing. And now, on the count of 5, you're going to open your eyes and be wide awake, fully alert, thinking and acting with calm self-assurance, glad to be alive, at peace with yourself, the world, and everyone in it. So you're coming back up now. Number 1, coming on up. Sense that expanding spiritual light within. Number 2, coming on up, at peace with all life. Number 3, tapping into an internal balance, internal harmony. Number 4, recall the situation in the room. And number 5, wide awake, wide awake. Open your eyes and feel good. Number 5, wide awake. All right. Read over your writing, if you will.
You can't tell a thing in the world what's wrong. There's some symbol somewhere. I changed hands. It was the same way. And it was going 90. Like that.
You can write with your other hand?
I tried both hands.
Wow.
Wow.
And I even tried to write my name 10 times. I can't hardly even read that. It was going so fast. I switched hands. I did everything.
How about you?
Nothing. So I resorted to the traditional way.
So you did intuitive writing.
No. The traditional way, the way I receive messages from Spirit is to see symbols.
Uh-huh.
So each time I saw a symbol, I wrote it down. But
Oh, cool.
it wasn't automatic writing.
Okay, but now did you receive strong thoughts in your mind that you could have written those thoughts down?
I like symbols.
But you didn't get any thoughts while you were writing? Okay, yeah. Well, what are the symbols? Let's see what the symbols are.
Well, my question was that is my psychic trustworthy?
Mm-hmm.
So I saw a helicopter taking off. Then I saw her images. I saw many eyes. That means that we're going somewhere, and she has clairvoyance. Then I saw a door opening. Then I saw some tools behind, which means that something will do something.
I see what you mean in symbols. They're not actual symbols where they're actually drawn depicting something. Okay. So you just saw one thing after another, and then you, yeah,
I have to interpret.
yeah. you get, Dina? You were going 90 mile an hour there too. Huh?
I didn't get anything.
No, did you? Yes, you did. I know.
I got I got what I asked for, and then I got a little, like a little reprimand.
Oh, did you really?
Oh.
A reprimand from Spirit?
Pretty much like, you keep asking for the same thing. You have it, we gave it to you. Do something with it, or we're moving on.
Oh.
Basically. So it was good.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, is there any advice you can use? I'm not asking what it was, but is there advice that you think, oh yeah, I can do that? It would be valuable.
Yeah,
Good,
it's good.
good. What'd you get, Cindy?
I was writing, well, this writing stuff is coming to me this week, so
Yeah.
things are happening easily. Seems to be easy for me.
Yeah.
But I was writing when you went to the bathroom. I guess I didn't understand. I didn't know if you were going to lead us or not, and I started writing then.
That was
When we were in
fine.
the bathroom. Then when you started talking, I couldn't get anything. So it was like, all right. Jesus.
Obviously, you were better off without me.
Well, but oh yeah, well, and it was like, and Jesus and I are talking. We're like, it's like, you really don't need this from Dick, do you? And it's like, no, but we'll just wait and let him talk.
Oh, funny.
So,
But then did
because
you
that's-
take off
Yeah.
later and do?
Well, actually, I started writing again before you had really given us the instruction. 'cause it
Okay.
came again.
Cool.
And then obviously again when you were silent, it came again too.
Yeah.
But actually, Seth wanted to come back in. So I asked, and I was like, that's fine, but I need to know, I love your code thing. And I said, I need to know who's coming from what. So I asked Seth to be from this side, because that's where I felt he came from
Right.
before. And then Jesus to come from this side.
Okay.
And, and for everything. So that's how it.
And what about the information?
Oh, cool stuff. Well, you know what, the other thing I was able to do is, you had one question at the top, and, that you asked us to write, but I let all that flow, and then I asked questions. And
Well, that's
so
what
I-
you should do. Sure.
Okay, I thought we
Sure.
could only have one.
No, we'll only have one, but if you finish up with that, I said, then go ahead and ask more. And
Okay, so maybe I asked questions that were around the same thing.
Good.
theme. So anyways, so it was all very cool, very cool.
Good.
So it was instructions of how to do things.
So it was advice on something concrete you can do. Good advice. Do this, do that.
Yeah, well, my
Cool.
question was, well, how will I heal clients, because I know things are changing. How will I heal clients quickly and intuitively from this day forward? So it was told how it will be from and everything.
So it's good advice, and yeah.
And so anyways, that was,
Susan, what about you?
Well, I asked Mother Teresa how I can help.
Oh, yeah, called in the big guns, huh?
She's my idol.
Yeah, yeah.
Mother Teresa, how I can help others heal.
Yeah.
She said, like she said, by prayer, by hands-on, by believing, by trusting,
Mhm.
that I have that ability, and I have that strength, and I
Wow.
just believing in God and praying and using my
Good.
to heal.
Good. Well, now you two, I don't know what to say about you.
When I first started this, I made some circles,
Yeah.
and then I asked, I need a little help.
Right.
That's when it started.
Oh, that's when you started getting good stuff? We got,
When I didn't get anything but real fast hands, moving 90 miles an hour.
Aware of what you were getting, or was your hand just moving?
Who'd you ask to do? Yeah, and who'd you ask to
Okay,
write for your
I
hand?
started
to?
with the circles,
Yeah.
and then I said I need help, and as I kept practicing help, this is where I come to, right here. This is where it started, the help that I got. And my hand was moving like this.
but does
Yeah.
it say anything?
It don't say a thing.
It's not English?
That's it. And on top of that, this is when I switched
Isabel
hands.
can maybe translate it.
That's when I switched hands.
Right.
And then I started trying to write my name, and you can't even hardly read that. And then-
I don't know.
Then I started down in here, I live in Mexico, and it's all scrambled too.
I don't know. I don't know. Keep at it. That's
Well,
all I know what to tell you.
I'm having a little better luck at home than
Yeah.
I did here.
Yeah.
A little bit better,
Yeah.
except it goes this way.
Who do you have right near you? Dina, do you have one person, or do you bring in somebody else?
I asked for my guide to choose someone.
Oh, your guide to choose one, yeah. Yeah, a yogi?
And I got Ramu.
Ramu?
Ramu.
Do you know of a Ramu? Or, but Ramu was articulate and good,
Yes.
right? Cool.
Give me some good.
On this note, we all have to go get healed.